to another wonderful episode of Tea Talks. I am your host, Jes'ka Washington, and once again, this is put on by Black educators in Dubai, and we have such an interesting topic today. We're going to look at a different dynamic. There's something out in the international world of teachers that are known as teaching couples, and so we're going to talk to two educators that are married. Yes, they're married to each other. And what it's like to be out here. This is kind of a two-part because it's not just about coming out here and becoming an educator, but also being married in Dubai and what that dynamic looks like. And I especially want to talk to anyone who is currently married to make sure that you're paying attention to this episode. We want to get real, you know how to say, we're going to get real with it. But we're going to be able to just have the different discussion on what it's like to move abroad and move there, hopefully with your best friend, right?
Yes.
All right, so today, thank you so very much for joining us. You are?
I'm Adrian and Cleckley. I'm originally from South Carolina. For the past 20 years, I've been living in Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And I'm now in Dubai.
Yes, you are?
Ashley Cleckley, originally from South Carolina, grew up in the DMV area, Virginia, D.C., Maryland, and was living in D.C. That's how we met, and now we're here in Dubai.
So just real quick, because we have to get the backstory, you guys met, you married before coming out.
Yes, so we met in D.C. working at the same school, and we were married for about almost 2 years before we came here.
Yeah.
So one, newlyweds.
Yes.
And making a big decision to move abroad.
Yes.
Now, was this ever talked about in the dating phases of
Yes.
your life? Really?
Mm-hmm. It was.
So it was always, for me, and I guess I'll start and then you can jump in by all means. I'm not that commentator here, but
No, you're here. You're God.
but for me, I think I traveled abroad for my first time in 2006, and I went to South Africa. And when I came back, I remember talking to my parents, and mainly my father and my two brothers, and telling them I'm going to live abroad. Like, that was an amazing experience, and I definitely want to live abroad. And they kind of looked at me and like,
Parents don't get it. You going through one of them phases.
nah, exactly. And
What do you do about benefits?
you gonna miss us, and I do, and I miss you very much.
Very much.
I love you.
We missed the family.
But when I came back, I told them about it, and they kind of like, okay, yeah, whatever. They kind of pushed past it. And even for me, I got back involved with life and working, and I kind of let that, dream go to the side, pass. And then when I met my lovely wife at this point, we talked about it, even in the dating point. We were like, yeah, I'd love to live abroad. And at that point, I started traveling. So I was traveling every summer. Every break that I got, I was going 2-3 weeks. If it wasn't 3 weeks, it wasn't long enough out of the country.
Right.
Oh, wow.
Right.
So, and so he said, when we got married, we could try, we could look at it, we could think about it. What do you remember about that experience? Because that was what I remember.
Well, he's absolutely correct on the build-up pieces. When we met, we both were very interested in traveling. I began traveling around that time a little bit. And same thing, it wasn't 3 weeks or 2 weeks. It wasn't long enough. So we said when we decided to be, we're engaged to be married, we said we want to live abroad. That was the plan. But then, as our first year of marriage, now he's older, there's an age gap. So he was in a position where he was like, I'm almost close to retirement.
Yes.
So let me just stay. And I was like, okay,
She wasn't quite that silent.
I was vocal in the beginning, but then
A bit more vocal.
But then I had to compromise, right? That was the biggest thing. So we compromised, and I said, all right, then if we're going to stay, then let me figure out how I can get to central office in my district, become curriculum coordinator, let's buy the house, let's do the plan. But God had another story for us. When God intervenes, he intervenes.
Baby, when I say God will come in and he'll banish your plans. Like,
yes.
Snap.
Snap them, and after, I think the decision was made, and like a month later, some things happened in our life, and we're like, well, do you want to try it?
And it was a no-brainer.
And we're here.
Wow.
That's really how it happened.
And we did have influence. I have one of my very best friends from childhood, college, who was here already.
Correct. And my line sister is here as well. So we knew some people who were already doing it here especially. So that was also helpful.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, did that make that transition then a little easier because you kind of had a base being built for you out here?
Correct. Because I know, like, I would talk to my line sister, and my Neo also was out here. She's in LA. My line sister is in Abu Dhabi. So I got a chance to ask questions. What is it like out there? What's the money like?
Yeah.
That was a big question. And the culture and the environment. And you were able to do the same with your pro fight.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
But at the same time, in the back of my mind, I was kind of thinking, this guy can do it. I can definitely. No knock to him, but it was still like, if he could do it, we could definitely.
This your life?
Yeah.
Right.
And then I was seeing his life through Instagram and so forth, and I was like, I could definitely be a part of this.
So let's tag onto that because I like that piece. Because everybody sees everybody's life on Instagram. And they're looking at the filters, they're like, oh, the Burj Khalifa's in the background. Oh, they living it up, they got that oil money. Oh, they're living their best life. Is it like Instagram?
Now that we're here?
Yes.
Well, I think we both agreed about 2 months in, correct me if I'm wrong, that we love it here.
Yes.
We love Dubai.
Yeah.
My scientists have another story. I didn't think about the dust. I didn't think about anything say I didn't consider any of that on my health. But overall, we like the environment. We like the fact that it's very diverse. We like how everything looks new. And we didn't realize that when we went back to the United States in December, and we got back, we were like, everything looks old.
Yeah.
Everything.
Different.
We couldn't figure it out, but now we like the energy here. We do. I just think the adjustment of work and the work-life balance piece was not what we anticipated.
Okay.
We are in private schools, and
And that was the one thing I think that's kind of kicking for me. When we came out, Ashley had a job. I didn't have a job.
Okay, let's
That's
talk
right.
about that.
So for the first several months, from August, we moved in August until February, I wasn't working.
yes, he was
So I was
stay
like-
at home.
I was a house
husband. He was doing a phenomenal job.
So, but it was, and I actually started to like that job.
I liked him in that job.
But then you also start to think about, the reasons why we came out.
Yeah.
So, you press a little harder to get the job, and I found a pretty decent job that I enjoy doing, but it is a workload. I mean, it's not Instagram or what you see on the pictures, it's a moment. It's a moment. And building up to that moment, that person may have been working 12 hours, 13 hours, even if they only worked 8 hours, they're still thinking about that job. And it's the same for us. I think that I came out, I was a director of an after-school program for 10 years, and prior to that, I was in the classroom teaching for 10 years. Here, I'm an admissions manager. Different job, different career, in a school, but from a different view. I'm actually, in a lot of cases, I'm selling education to expats.
Right.
So it's different, and the type of education that I'm promoting is much different from the education that I grew up in. So all of those pieces are very different for me. Nonetheless, I enjoy the job. I try to leave the job at the job, but I enjoy being a part of it. But the hours are longer. It is something brand new. It's a learning curve for me, and I do have to think about that. So it's one of those things that's kind of always on my mind, in the back of my mind. I have been a support role for my wife since August, and then now transitioning into this position. When she comes home with her
Stress.
Yes.
portions of her job,
Yes.
I still feel like, yes, okay. Hold it in. It's okay. I'm all right. Yes. Well, let's just have dinner. But it has been interesting.
You touched on this one point, and I do want to make this known that while you came out here and you did not have employment, it was still very plausible to live out here.
And I want to speak on that action because that was one of our biggest decision pieces. When we made the decision to come out here, so we came in August 2018, I didn't start looking, we started looking for a job until January of 2018. As an English teacher, it was simple. For him, history background, And
Yes.
he wasn't qualified as a teacher at the time because he was in another role. So he was in a very quasi-educational role. So for him to find a job was a lot more difficult. But we literally decided that when I got the job, we prayed on it, and we're going to have some faith that God will get him a job when the time is right. So we looked at our finances. We can live off of one salary, and we did.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, it was 1 month where we actually were able to save, but then we had to go back home for unexpected loss in our family. So that was a wash, but we saw that it was possible. But we knew with him having a job would give us even more of what we wanted. So to those who are out there who feel like can I come out there before my husband or my wife gets a job? You can.
Absolutely.
You can. It's very possible.
And you can live a very nice life.
Yeah.
I cannot say that enough.
Yeah, we still had fun.
Yeah, we ate out, and one of the things we love to do, we like to eat out, and we ate out.
We went to visit India. Which is another experience in itself, but we went to visit.
I don't think any friends ever called us and we were like, nah, we can't really hang out this weekend because of financial reasons. No, it was always a possibility.
Right.
We actually had someone come in and clean the house once every 2 weeks.
I'm not ashamed. I am not ashamed.
I love it.
Yes.
I was only ashamed because I was actually at home all day.
Oh, that was the hilarious part. Because I remember I would come home, I'm like, oh, the house smells clean. He's like, yes, honey, I did it. No, you did not. But it's okay. You call, you make sure they're there, you supervise. So that's fine.
But I strongly encourage people who are in that stage of, I'm not sure if I could do it, we could do it off one salary because there's only one person who's actually got nailed down that job. Step out there.
I do think that one major piece that we should highlight is that the power of your communication, the power of saying what we can do, how it can look, and how do we adjust.
Yes.
Makes it so much more plausible. And I do think when you leap, or just when you're willing to take that leap, if you're a person who's saying, I'm willing to try, that shows a lot more in being able to compromise. I do know people that come out, but their husband or their wife stayed in the States because they were not as comfortable or confident with what that can hold.
Correct.
And so I just wanted to kind of highlight that it's a communication piece between you guys. It is.
Oh, yeah.
Is it the I am with my best friend, we'll figure this out
Oh
together?
yes, there was not going to be a mode of I'm going out there first. That was not for us. It doesn't work for us, especially we're newlyweds. I don't think that's what we needed at the time. Now I will say when we made the commitment, we also had a little bit of savings to help us transition over. So I would recommend that to be just because all these random expenses that come up. But otherwise, we wanted to do this together. And our whole plan was because we're from the States, we said if it doesn't work out, we will go back. We have that luxury where some people in this country do not have a luxury to go back home. But we have that opportunity or that ability. So we said we're just going to take a leap of faith.
And I will say, I would encourage people before coming, travel a little bit with your best friend.
Okay.
Yes.
Because there are things that I know about my wife because we traveled together prior. And I will go back to our first trip, our first trip abroad. And there was a moment where it was like,
Ooh.
yeah.
I might not be able to do that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Is this a red flag? Is this a pink flag?
And it was day, 3, 2? And we still had 2.5 weeks left
Oh wow.
on this trip.
So we learned a lot about each other through traveling, and even so when we moved here, that made it a little bit easier. I knew her strong points in traveling, she knew my strong points, and we kind of worked together. Not even kind of, we worked together as a team. But more than anything else, we talked about a lot. And there's initially, yes, we have friends, a couple of friends here, but it's just the two of us.
Yes.
And we spend a lot of time just talking and just getting to know each other better, because you do get to know a person better when there's no one else technically around.
Yeah.
So I'm going to say that you guys are not the norm in Dubai. Dubai is a city of singles, boo.
Yeah.
City of singles.
Yes, it is.
So I do think, and I know that you mentioned this to me because just me and Ashley know each other.
Yes, sisters.
And she said something like, we don't get the call to go out all the time. And I'm like, yeah, I'm real guilty because I be like, you guys got each other. You here. And so I would say just being married and facing that dynamic. Is that dynamic like that in the States, or is it something totally new, or did you already have a network in the States? So
I would definitely say I think where we were, we already had a network established, and then when we merged together, our friendships merged as well, just like family would. So in that case, I think people knew like we can get together with the Cleckleys. The Cleckleys.
Ashley and Adrian.
Yeah, no, the Cleckleys. Like, really? Okay, our first name go away. But then we also had the opportunity to say, well, I'm gonna go kick it with my boy or my girl, because it was already established. But our friends respected that we could have that healthy balance. So they didn't call us for everything, but they called us for enough to feel like we were still, you know, included. Because we definitely said you can't say no to. Sometimes you want to say no because no, it's just gonna be me and you. But we can't say no to everything, and we don't want to say no to everything either. So I think the dynamic is different because we already had a set established network.
Yeah.
We're here, we're trying to build it.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I definitely miss.
Yeah.
I was in D.C. for the past 20 years, and literally when we were leaving, we realized that. Like,
Yeah.
you realize that I've known this person for 20 years of my life. It's cool, but it was also very sad because you're going to lose, it's not the same.
Yeah.
You know, from every piece of it, from the fact that, you know, you come home from dinner and it's like, hey, I want to go out for dinner. You guys, you guys down?
Brunches, that's what's not different for us here.
Yeah.
Brunches are big in DC.
Yeah. But it was like not having that network of people in a new place to be able to do that. And I do miss my friends from DC. I miss my friends from South Carolina too, but I've been away from them a bit longer. But the DC folk, I miss you guys.
We do. We really do.
I do miss them.
I miss doing the wobble.
Oh, doing my wobble. All right, we missed some go-go music. Go-go. But yeah, I agree. We missed them. And I think we didn't realize it as how much we had that network until we had that cookout.
Yeah.
We had a going away cookout. We planned it, had a friend's house. It was great. Everyone came out, and then we realized at that point we still had another month left. People were still like, "This is the last time we're gonna see you, right?" We're like, "Oh, we thought this was that's fine. We get together for brunch and dinner."
This is going away cookout. This is it.
This is it. I thought we were trying to do all. So it was so funny. We thought we were gonna nail it all at one time. Didn't happen. So we met them after. And after.
2 or 3 more get-togethers, hangouts, you know.
Right. But we realized then is how blessed we were to have that network, and we still have them, but just not.
They're not here.
Yeah.
But we've invited them. We want them to keep coming out. We want them to come out.
Please come.
Yeah.
You mentioned or alluded to a family emergency. And so being that you are now together, you are one, we are one. But the key thing about marriage is not just 2 people joining, it's families joining. It's creating that. And it's getting your mama to fuss about when am I going to get my grandchild.
Oh, that's something we might want to talk about.
Next segment, when I'm going to get my grandchild.
While in Dubai.
But how do you handle the family? Because the expectation of the family is, well, I want this telephone call, or we need this. How do you handle and manage family?
Well, the emergency definitely was out of the blue. And I think when we initially got the call, I'll say this. We talked about the savings earlier. It is great to have a bit of savings.
Yes.
Because when emergencies do come up,
You have to have that.
you have to have something, at least enough money to get back home.
Yeah.
So I'll tell people, encourage people to at least have that set aside. Family is very important to both of us. She calls me a mama's boy. I don't directly think that I'm a mama's boy. I just
And he says, he's saying this on who's like potato pie, whose sweet potato pie is better?
Well, being that my mom doesn't make
All right, then.
Okay, my grandma, God rest her soul, that's who we had to go home for the emergency, but she made a bomb.
Okay, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but that's how you know who's a mama boy. Whose sweet potato pie,
Right.
who potato salad is better. And he know in his heart, because he first said, pay attention, if my mama had made it.
If she had.
But I'm sorry,
It
go
would
ahead
be
and
the
continue.
best. Sweet potato pie. But she was known for a potato salad.
See,
My mom
I knew it was
I
one.
made one at the same cookout, didn't I? I made the vegan.
Yeah.
We're not.
Yes.
Okay, you're not gonna win with that.
For this one,
It was very good, honey. No joke.
it was the
good.
best.
But family is important.
Yes.
But what we have found is when she's on the phone with her mom or family members or so forth, I'm in the background. When I'm on the phone, my mom or dad, they're saying, put the phone on speakerphone so we can talk to Ashley at the same time. So we have for us, honestly, and this has been, honestly, that was even before we moved out to Dubai.
Okay.
It's been like that. Our families have been all inclusive. You know, you don't speak to one without speaking to the other. Aunt Red calls, well, pass the phone to Adrian.
Yes.
When a grandma, we used to call a grandma, well, let me speak to you. That's just the way our families are. And it's pretty phenomenal. Now, what would be even more amazing if they could all come out at the same time.
That's what we want.
You know, we really want that.
Family reunion.
Yes, we really do.
Yes,
we really do.
But we'll see how that works out.
Because Uncle Bill is like, we done had the family reunion at the Charleston Estates for the last 32 years.
Correct.
And these new millennials
Right.
on that Facebook there is trying to change it all up. Okay.
They ain't going to Dubai.
Do what? Do what? Where is that?
Where is that?
Where is that?
Oh, it's gonna be hot. How we gonna do Christmas and it's hot?
It's actually quite a nice chill, I would have to admit, now that I've experienced it.
So, but I was going back to just the family dynamic, because that's something you have to be able to manage and figure out as well.
Oh, yeah.
So we talked about all of those things, but we didn't really just say this one piece. I know you like it. Are you happy?
Yep.
Yeah, we're happy here.
And I think like is an understatement. We're falling in love. Yeah, we're falling in love with Dubai. Still not outranking my DC and my South Carolina folks, but it's, you know, but it is a pretty phenomenal place. In terms of culture, in terms of just travel possibilities have been amazing. Affordability, just exposure to new cultures and new people and people that living in DC for the past 20 years, you kind of think of, oh, I'm in an international city.
Right.
Yeah, it's diverse.
It is, no question. But moving here, the diversity is on steroids.
It is.
And especially my present position, I'm talking, interacting with people. Oh, where are you from? Mom is from one place, dad is from someplace else. The child is from, born here or born somewhere else, or they have grandparents. The children have 2 or 3 passports. It's a very interesting cultural of people and mixture of people, unlike the U.S. to me.
Correct.
So, was it worth it? And I say this piece when you think about the hard times, when you talk about the frustrations, when you talk about those times when it was clicking. And I'm going to be honest with you. I do know and recognize the fact that you're still going through it. You're still going through conversations. Because I have watched Red Tape Talks, and I know marriage is a constant.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Constant work. Yes.
But is it worth it?
We think it's worth it because the financial pieces that we're getting, the opportunities that we realize we would have had otherwise. I think the next step for us is considering now expanding our family, and we plan to do that while we are here. And just looking at the finances of it. It's more worth it in that sense. The drawback would be not being around our family, but
Which is
huge.
Yeah.
But I definitely believe, like where I'm from, I was one of those children who the last day of school, you're going back down south to grandma's house until the first day of school. So I believe in literally, I believe in that for our future kids. Inshallah, we have kids, we want them to still get that cultural experience back at home. So that would be something that we're still discussing. But we are looking to expand at least another year or so.
Yeah.
You heard it here, folks.
You heard it here first.
First. Be on the lookout episode so they can work on expanding, Mama. Because you said you wanted a grandchild.
Yes.
It's born in Dubai.
There you go. Get ready.
But I want to say, let's just go back to, well, it's worth it. And I want to say, for me, just this conversation makes it worth it. Just this energy, just this light. So thank you for opening up your marriage and your conversations and your testimony to share, just to share.
Absolutely.
And I hope so many people grow and learn from it. And I can tell you already, there are so many more conversations that we could dive into, because the whole retirement piece are out. We're going to be coming back season 2 because we could talk about that.
Yes.
But until then, let's raise our glasses to another wonderful opportunity to talk over tea.
Absolutely.
I am your host, Jes'ka Washington. Just enjoying this, and thank you once again for tuning in. I appreciate it, and I'll catch you on the next Tea Talk.